Hello and welcome to this video that was voted for by my Patreon members. So thank you for everyone who voted for data assets. In this episode, we're going to go through and explain how data assets are used, why you may want to use them, and what are the benefits and differences of using them compared to data tables. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about data assets. So the whole purpose of a data asset is a way of storing information. Now, you may already be familiar with using data tables, and data assets are just another way of storing data, just like data tables already store data too. So let's take, for example, our data table setup. We have a structure which defines this resource with a name, description, and mesh, text size, and cell value. And we made a data table with those values in there, or flower, crystal, and iron ingot, and mushroom, with various information in there. Now, you'd have in here all the items in your game, okay, defined here. This read-only data table. Now, the issue with the data tables is that they are can be quite cumbersome because they can get very, very large. And if they are very, very large, you run into an issue where the data table takes longer and longer to go through because it has so many rows. Whenever you are doing a find data table row, what it's doing is going through each row sequentially to find the right one. Now, what may actually be better and easier is if you have each row of this as its own asset. That's essentially what a data asset is. So let's go through the process of creating a data asset. So we're going to go over to our folders here. I'll just make a new folder, keep this a bit tidier. And in here, we'll have in here a blueprint class. And you go to all classes and search for primary data asset. Click that, and we'll name it. We'll go resource data asset. And in here, you give it variables much like how we gave it that structure for the data table. So in here, we're going to have the name, which is a text field. We're going to have a description. We'll also have in here mesh it's going to use. Mesh and do static mesh. What now? We have stack size, which is a integer. Name that one. And we have a cell cost. That'll be a float. Okay, so you put in all the variables you have in here, like so. But as you can see, you can have other things in it. So not just as just like a data table which has just data on it. A data asset can also have functions and event dispatchers on there too. So you can actually put logic on there to run on the data asset. So this could be very useful if you wanted to do calculations, for example. Like in other words, what we do here with this cell cost is we'll go to functions. We'll make a new one to get new discounted cell cost, and that could give us a input for a float, and that'd be the percentage of it. So we'll do a factor, and the output for that would be the new value, new cell cost, and we just simply take that factor there and multiply that by this cell cost. Okay, so we've got this function on here that we can easily get hold of not just the cell cost, but also add a multiplier to it. So if we want to get a 10% discount, just multiply by 0.9. So more on this in a second when we go into it. I'll show you how to pull that up. But just so you know, you can do things like this. In fact, we'll make this a pure function whilst we're here. Okay, so that is how you define a data asset. To actually make one though, just right click in here again and go to miscellaneous and choose data asset. In the drop down, it'll ask you to pick the one you want to use. We're going to use the resource data asset, so let's find that. There it is. And now we can create our data assets. So in here, we're going to have a flower and open it up, and you just put in the information you want to have. So flower This yellow flower has been said to have healing properties. We'll give it the mesh, so we'll give it that one. Stack size we'll do 99. Sell cost we'll do 5.5. Okay. And if I want to make another one, I just do the exact same method again. We create another one. So you go to here, miscellaneous, data asset, and so on. However, you may find that a bit tedious after a while. So what you can do is just right click on your flower here, duplicate it, and then you can do the next one. So we do mushroom, for example. And in there, we can choose the mushroom we want to use. Go back here, mushroom. Yep. Mushroom. And that'll be this fungi is great in a soup. And you can change the other values obviously to whatever you like. And you just keep going on and on and on. Now, another really useful thing about data assets is that because they are single assets here, which makes them better for memory, but also helps you just organize yourself a little bit better. So rather than having a long list inside a data table, which you can search, obviously, you can actually just put in folders here and other organization methods to help you store, locate, and reuse your data assets throughout your project. So let's say I've done all of my data assets and I'm ready to want to use it in the game. So let's make a little actor that I'll pick up to give me that asset. So I'll go over here, create a new blueprint class, do actor, and that be item. And we can go in here and say, give this a mesh. So, and I can go to the variables down here and give it a data asset. So I just call it data. And in the drop down, I'll search for my resource data asset. Now, when I compile that, I can choose which one this is going to be over here. So let's say, for example, I make this one editable. And on the construction script, I'll drag out my data variable, convert it to a validated get. So if it hasn't been set, it won't do anything. But when it gets the data, I'm going to drag out and search for mesh. And it's just like looking for another variable on any other actor. So do get mesh, and now I can set that now to my static mesh component. So set mesh. So file and save. So now if I drag in this item into the world, it's there. I can click on the data asset option here, choose flower, and it will put it in with the flower. Change the mushroom, it'll be a mushroom. Okay. And if when you play a character, you're doing a inventory of sorts, it works exactly the same as if you were storing row names for a data table. But instead of row names, you store data assets. So you may be familiar with a variable type such as this for inventory. We have inventory set to a name and a map. And it's just so you know how many items you've got of each one. But rather than using name, just change it to your resource data asset. Compile and save. So when I want to add an item to an inventory, just dragging it out there and doing add, and you're just choosing the data asset from the drop down or plugging it in and the quantity. Okay, much like how you would do with a row name or anything else. So it's very, very similar in that regard. And it is similar in a sense that it is read only, so you can't change any data inside of a data asset. You can only read from it. But as mentioned earlier, you can do certain things with it. So for example, if my player character wants to sell something, so we do a function here called sell item. And in here, we're going to go to the variables and set to a resource data asset. I'll call this one item. So when I want to sell the item, I could drag this out and I get the sell cost. So to sell cost, and you'll see get discounted sell cost. This is the function we made earlier. So I can call a function on my data asset, give it a factor here of say 0.9 and give myself a 10% discount. So I can sell that and now do the logic here to actually get that money out onto my character. But there you go. Data assets are really cool, useful tools, especially because of those functions you can do. So do try them out. I've been using a lot more lately and been enjoying my time with them. So there you have it. Data assets are a wonderful tool that's been added to Unreal Engine, and I strongly recommend trying them out. They're good fun and very much a nice, easy way to manage large amounts of data. Now, if you want to vote for other videos, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where you can become a Silver Tier member and start voting for next month's videos right now. Thank you so much to our Patreon members for the continued support, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.